All right, we're back for another episode of Dolphin Tales, and today we've got a man who probably needs no introduction, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway.
Thank you.
I'll try to keep it short because I know if we went through everything, it would probably take the whole episode. So, Dee, thanks for coming on. JU Hall of Fame, a very lengthy playing and coaching career in the NBA. An icon of the sport is what they are saying. So I'm sure you would agree with that. Thanks for coming on the show.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, Pat.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a lot we can cover today. I want to start just proud father moment I saw all over social with Lexi winning the World Championship with WNBA.
Yep.
I mean, just talk about that real quick, just as a parent.
It's special because you always want to see your kids do better than you. I never got a chance to get to the finals in the NBA. Got close, but never to the WNBA finals. So to be there in Chicago, to experience that moment with her, she's been a winner every level, high school, college, and then to be able to get to the highest level and to be able to win a WNBA championship is amazing. Just to see her smile, just to go through that whole process with her, knowing when she was little. Today is her birthday, which happens to be, which is a great thing, and it was very, very special, and I'm very proud of her. She's definitely the best player in the family. So she's the Brown family GOAT. But I'm very happy that I got a chance to see how it started when she was little, when she just started playing basketball, and to obviously the culmination of being a world champion now.
That's fantastic. Yeah, it was fun watching along on social, seeing you up there and going through the game and afterwards. So congratulations. That's incredible. So we had Alice Ricker Gilbert on to open up season 2 and talked about everything that they had to deal with last season, last school year, and then he had mentioned that you were one of the notable hires, and that's certainly an understatement. To come back to your city, to your alma mater, as I'm going to get this right, the executive director of University and Athletic Relations.
There you go.
Nailed
Good
it.
job, Pat.
I've been practicing.
Me too.
It's got that big fat nameplate on the door, I'm sure.
I know.
To be back, I mean, just talk about what that means to you and the experience so far.
It's been special to be back on campus, see how much has changed. This process started really 3 years ago. This is not all of a sudden a post-COVID, hey, let's make a hard change. This conversation happened at President Kost's house. I was doing a speaking engagement for him, talking to the women's basketball team and the men's basketball team, and out of the blue, President Kenny shows up. And I didn't know. They surprised me because she's one of my mentors, one of the people, everybody's a mentor, but somebody that I looked up to, was very, very instrumental to me while I was on campus, taught me so many things outside of basketball. And she told me, just before she passed away, she told me, hey, Dee, we need you back on campus. We need your leadership. We need your guidance. We need your passion. And no other place for you to be able to do that is back home, back in Jacksonville University. And I'm like, you can't do this to me now, President Kenny. I was right in the middle. I was the vice president of the Clippers. We were in that process of making the championship run. And then COVID hit. And then I got a chance to spend some time home and think about it, and think about President Kenny, and think about the people that pushed me and guided me while I was on campus. I said, you know what, this is something I need to do. I talked to my family about it. Nothing like coming back home. 30 years later, I get a chance to come back home, be around my mom and dad and my siblings, and again, just to be back on campus to mentor our student athletes, help with the growth and development of our coaches and staff, and so many other things that I get a chance to do, spend time just walking around and enjoying, obviously this, post-pandemic, and we're still in it, but post-pandemic year where everything's pretty much reconnecting. And the message I've been usually saying to everybody I've been working with, it's 4 things we got to really do now as we're going through and growing out of this pandemic. We got to care about each other, we got to connect with each other, we got to communicate with each other, and we got to collaborate. And if we can do those 4 things, not just on the athletic side, but also on the university side and academia side, if we can get through this, and we want everybody to grow, not just our student athletes, but our faculty, our staff, and our coaches.
That's great. And we've in a few of the interviews that I've had, we've talked about the family atmosphere of JU, and we've talked about program's not really sitting in a silo. You know, basketball being basketball, baseball being baseball, soccer and all that. It's, you know, everyone coming to support. But it seems like, and it's partially you, partially Alex, you know, a lot of the coaches, it seems like there's a big emphasis, at least publicly I can see it, of everyone collaborating, like you said, getting together. You know, I'm seeing basketball out, trying to you know, shag ground balls and do stuff like that. So is that one of the things that you guys are working on?
That's one of the things. Again, it's just connecting. You know, we're all on this campus together, and I've walked this campus. I've been in these classrooms. You know, I've had those early morning classes where you didn't want to be there, but also I made sure when I was here, I went to a soccer game, and I knew all the soccer players. I knew the volleyball players. And that's one thing a lot of our coaches have taken, they've done a really good job of it earlier, so far early in the semester, where you saw Jordan Mincy out on the softball field. You see some other the players at a soccer game cheering with signs and things like that. And it's just supporting each other. And we want to make sure that not only we support each other, but we support the community as well. And we want the community to support us as well as too. So those are the first steps, us here internally doing all those things to make sure that everybody feels loved and welcome, and like you say, a great family environment. And that good. It gets people in the stands, it gets butts in, you know, the seats, and I think that's a great thing so far early that we've done, where we've got just our coaches and our student athletes supporting each other. The next part is reaching out to our faculty and our staff, making sure they feel welcome and loved and know that they're supported, and we appreciate all things they do for our student athletes. We've had a couple events already where we've had some faculty staff come to practice, visit with, you know, just kind of see what the everyday life of a student athlete is, and they're amazed how much work goes into it, how much time, how much energy is put into just one practice. And that part, you know, you don't want to always talk to the professor when things are bad. Hey, I need extra time. Hey, can I get some help on this assignment? You want them to have a genuine, authentic relationship with your professor, and we're trying to do that as well.
You know, I totally agree. I remember there was always, you would come, you know, come on campus for the first time freshman year, and you would get warnings like, oh, don't take that class, take this class. You know, this one hates student athletes, you know, and whether they did or not. But when you felt like they understood you, you wanted to put in a little bit more, you know, more effort, a little bit of that extra time with them.
You want to be there. You want to make sure you have a conversation with them. Again, everything can't be a red flag fire sale. When you're talking to your professor, it's got to be authentic, where you're talking. And listen, I don't know a professor on campus that wants you to fail. I just don't know one.
Why would they be doing this?
Yeah, exactly. and I think we've got to obviously change that type of narrative. Vice versa, you know, we got to change the narrative that professors hate student athletes. You know, and that's not true at all. Again. And so again, it's just establishing a relationship again. You know, being back on campus. You know, obviously, you know, real FaceTime with people, not everything virtual or via Zoom or Microsoft Teams or whatever, you know, virtual app people use. You want people to just again get back to having real conversations with people and seeing, you know, how, you know, we do things on the student athlete side and how they do things obviously on the academia side.
I love the community outreach piece too, you know, to bring people in. I mean, obviously it brings the whole environment up for the student athletes, and, you know, I know women's basketball was doing like a trick-or-treating thing, and, you know, we didn't really feel there was a proactive, you know, I guess element of that when, at least when I was here. But then when we won the ASUN championship in 2003, we got home and our neighbors had put up signs all over our house, like on the garage and stuff, like congrats. And we're like, didn't even know that they knew who we were. That's fantastic. So, so what are some of the big things that you're working with right now with student athletes, as far as like what are the issues? You know, kind of, maybe it's COVID related, maybe it's not. But what are some of the things that you identified, said this is something that we really need to focus on?
There's a combination of a couple of things I've been working with student athletes. I think the biggest thing is, again, it's understanding what's going on after COVID and going through the pandemic and things like that. When the pandemic started and hit, everybody got certain things taken away. You know, your freedom to leave and do certain things, go places. With athletes, your physical part of the game got taken away. You couldn't go play. You couldn't go work out. And that was a big struggle for a lot of the athletes, because the first time you were forced not to do the thing that you love to do, you've been doing it your whole life. So there's other things that we made sure we had to focus on with our student athletes when they got back on campus. The physical part is always taken care of. That's why you have coaches. You want to be the fastest, you want to be the strongest. You want to be able to shoot, you want to be able to hit, you want to be able to catch. There's 6 other things that we wanted to focus on with our student athletes. And it was the emotional, the mental, the professional, the relational, spiritual, and the financial part that kind of got escalated and brought to the forefront. Like, I got to really concentrate on these things. So we've made a concerted effort of making sure those 6 other things take away the physical part that we're really focused on with our student athletes. Mental health and wellness, nutrition, having conversations again, understanding, the importance of, your money and understanding how that works, with things going on in the nation. Obviously, diversity and inclusion, things like that we've been working on and talking about. So those parts have been the most important parts we've been working on with our student athletes. The other thing is leadership skills. I think every player can be a leader. Some are born leaders. Some can be taught and educated and put in situations where it forces them to be leaders. So those things we've been working on a lot with our student athletes. And they've been very receptive. We have a couple classes, we have a couple seminars, we have people coming and speaking to our student athletes. So we want to give them as many resources as we can to make sure their student athlete experience is excellent. When I was here for 4 years, I loved my student athlete experience. I was born here, I was raised here, I went to high school here. I want people who are on campus at Jacksonville University to feel the same way when they leave here. They knew that we cared about them, not because they can make a shot, but because we want them to be the best, basically their ideal selves. We want them to be the best they could be.
Sure. I mean, there's something that's going to happen after they leave campus, and a very small percentage are going to be able to go and play their sport for a little bit, but most aren't. And so to be a well-rounded human being is important. And it was, as well as the university did in setting us up for a lot of the things. I'm not going to say all, but a lot of things that you just talked about. You growing up and playing whatever sport you're playing. You're in a school, in a structured environment, and then you come out and you're like, now what?
Right, exactly.
What the heck do I do?
We say being a pro is important, but being professional, to me, is the word that needs to be used. To me, when you're a professional, it means that you're the highest level of what you do. Now, if my job was to mop this floor, I'm going to be the best floor mopper in university history. And that makes me a professional. So again, we've got to change the mindset of what a pro sounds like. Pro is showing up every day. A pro is being respectful. A pro is being a person that understands that it's not all about you. It's all about the group. So again, all those little things that we were trying to educate our student athletes on, and our coaches, the same thing. It's all tied in hand in hand.
That's excellent. Well, we've talked about your time on campus, and I think we should probably talk about your time right here. So I always like to just kind of open it up, and not anything specific, but just tell me about your time playing here, and maybe a story or two that maybe the general public might not know.
You know what? I wasn't first. JU wasn't the place. I always wanted to go to JU. I remember watching it when I was younger, and watching Maurice Rulak and Steve Tutson and Otis Smith, guys like that. Those were the big guys that was on campus. And Maurice was local. He went to Bishop Kenny, which was our rival in my high school. Otis went to Forest. So I knew the local guys that played here and knew about Jacksonville University. So when I got on campus, I got here kind of like a week before school started. I was like a late bloomer, as far as recognized as a elite basketball player on the Division I level. It took me a couple years to find my way. I worked. I sat on the bench my freshman year. I didn't play a lot. My sophomore year, I got an opportunity to play a little bit more, and then my junior year, I exploded. But I think the biggest thing for me was always having people like Dr. Kenny. My head coach, Rich Haddad, was always supportive of me. I never played a game in Swisher, but my game developed so much in this gym. I would come in here early in the morning, stay late at night. Coach Haddad, Marty Gross, who was here as my assistant coach, opened the gym up. I just remember all the memories. Downstairs, it was the locker room, the weight room, the training room, all downstairs. So to see the growth of what's going on in Swisher and obviously next door, having the basketball performance area, that makes me feel like I was a part of that. And that's very important to me, that I was part of the growth of JU basketball in the 80s, and obviously now in 2021 we're at this point now. But just stories, I used to get a lot of fights in practice. That's a story. Like, I hated to lose, and I hated anybody that accepted losing. And I would get into shouting matches, nothing physical, but I wanted to win so bad because I was from here, and I wanted to represent the university because I was a local. And some of the type of conversation I would have with our teammates and coaches, it was intense, but it made me the person I am now. I still talk to a lot of my former teammates, either via social media or via the phone. But I just remember being here just day in and day out. I remember my strength coach, Mark McCown, saying, "Dee, you have a chance to be great. Anything you do, but you have a chance to play at the next level." And I was like, "Really? Like, you think so?" And we went through this thing. Remember, this is 1980s, plyometrics. It first came out.
All right.
Plyometrics. Nobody's doing plyometrics. Box jumps, power push-ups, up and down the stairs. And I did that for, the last semester and a half of my senior year. And literally, I got faster, I got stronger. My vertical increased probably like 8 inches before the pre-draft camp. And it kind of propelled me. And that was happening in this gym. That what got me to the NBA. That work during the times when nobody's watching, no people in the stands, got me to be a first-round pick in the NBA. And Mark McCown, the next year or 2 years later, got a job with Utah Jazz and was a strength coach there for 25 years with Karl Malone and John Stockton. So again, a person that you had a chance to help mold me, got a chance to go mold probably two of the best players ever to play in the NBA, in John Stockton and Karl Malone, and I was a part of his journey as well.
That's fantastic. So the question is, were you practicing the no look when you were here?
I had a lot of dunks in college, late in my career, and the funny part about that dunk, I never practiced that dunk. Going from my senior year to the draft, I had won a college dunk contest, and it was Orlando. And the next year I was to get drafted by the Celtics, and had some really nice dunks during the season. Larry Bird throwing me the pass here, and Kevin McHale, and Robert Parrish. So I got in the dunk contest as a fill-in. I was really a fill-in for the dunk contest. Somebody dropped out and they, hey, get this guy from the Celtics. He's really good. He's young. He'll do it. And no Celtics was in a dunk contest. So I never practiced that dunk at all. It's funny, the best advice, not even the best advice, the people that gave me the most advice in the dunk contest were the guys on my team who couldn't dunk. Bird, McHale, those guys were like, do this, try this. I'm like, dude, you can't even dunk anymore. So those guys gave me a lot of advice. They're very supportive, and they were very happy to support me because they're there, because they're all-stars in Charlotte that weekend. So we're all there together. So it was, come on, a kid from Jacksonville, went to high school at Bowles, went to Jack University. His rookie year is at an all-star game with 3 Hall of Famers all around, all these great players, and you're in the center stage, and everybody's watching you do your thing and pump your shoes up and do the no-look dunk. You start going back, you start thinking like this journey's been incredible, and it started all here in Swisher Gym.
And I guess we should probably, just for if someone doesn't know, it was the 1991
Yep, 1991
NBA Slam Dunk Contest
Yes.
Championship.
Yes.
Here he is, the champ.
Yes.
Go ahead and just YouTube Dee, and I'm pretty sure that's the first thing.
Pops up.
That and the pumps come up. It's and so talking about iconic, and then we'll wrap up with one last thing. But just to still be so connected to the game, and like I said in the opening, to to have a great career in college, a great career in the NBA, and then to be a head coach and an assistant coach with the NBA, WNBA, to take all that and bring that here. I mean, that's got to be something for not only for the basketball program, but for the university overall. I mean, there's got to be just a ton of knowledge that you're going to be able to bring and experience to the program overall.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. You know, I was in the NBA for 30 years, 12 as a player, and 18 as a coach at every level or executive for the last 5 years before I came back to Jacksonville University. And all that knowledge, you're exactly right. Just all the people I was around, the great coaches. You know, I was around Red Auerbach, and I was around Doc Rivers, and I got a chance to play with, you know, Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, and all these young up-and-coming guys when I was the old vet and they were the young guys, and I was instilling that information and knowledge that Larry Bird and Kevin McHale and those guys gave me and Dennis Johnson gave me. Again, to me, coaching and teaching are hand in hand. And a lot of that information I got from the teaching part is what I'm trying to give back to our coaching staffs and our student athletes here, understanding the importance of how you communicate. Locker room dynamics are locker room dynamics at every level. You know, you've got to have people to buy into what you do. You have to have a culture of winning and respect. It doesn't matter what sport it is. Like, if you don't have your locker room, your players don't trust you as a coach, you can't win. I don't care how talented you are. That's not a basketball analogy. That is a sports locker room analogy when you're coaching student athletes at every level. And that's one thing I want to bring back here at Jackson University, just being in those locker rooms, hearing the conversations, knowing how to bring the best out of a student athlete, knowing that, you know, there's sacrifice I've made at every level for us to win. And if winning is what you're all about, and that's why you're here, and not the individual accolades, let's pull that out of you. Let's do what we can do to make you that best, the best player that you can be. So, yeah, I take all that experience and bring it here. And that was one of the main reasons when I had a conversation with President Koss and Alex and President Kenny. We want just to bring that knowledge back of being in so many different situations with so many great people. How can we instill that into our coaching staff, our administration, not just on, like I said, not just on the athletic side. Let's take some of that information and bring it to, obviously, the other part of campus with our student body, our professors, our faculty, of just how to build a championship culture.
What's the one thing you're most excited about going into your first basketball season in your role here?
I'm very excited about Jordan Mincy. I've been to some of his practices. He is the most energetic, most passionate coach I've seen in a long time. Everybody says that about young coaches getting their first head coaching job. He's paid his dues. He's ranked top 5 assistant coaches in the country.
Right.
He's at Jacksonville University. So that's exciting for us to get a quality coach, but a better person like Jordan Mincy. So I'm very excited about his growth and seeing the way he established Jacksonville University and put them, us back on the map of people talking about us, not just in the city, but also around the country. I'm looking forward to the women's team. I'm looking forward to, again, things were so shut down last year. I'm looking for people in the stands. Fin Fever was great. You see people we had at Fin Fever. I got a chance to be part of it, shoot 3-pointers and judge a dunk contest and just see all the fans and the students back. I'm looking forward to that. I miss that college environment. I miss the craziness of college sports. Just the student athletes supporting each other, the alumni, the supporters. That's what I'm looking forward to about basketball, just being here in Swisher and then feeling that vibe of just Dolphin basketball and seeing that kind of just start to grow as we move into the next phase of JU basketball.
There you go. Well, I'm sure this is one of many conversations we will have with you. But again, JU Hall of Famer, longtime NBA player, coach, Dee, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, Pat.